The Peloponnesian War was the war between the two rivaling city-states, the coastal city-state Athens and Sparta on the Peloponnese. Euclides is the most famous historian on this event. He writes from the Greek perspective the history of the Peloponnesian War. He calls this war uninevitable because of Athens' growing power and Sparta's fear of the unknown. Athens was a democratic state, which meant that all of the people would have a vote in making any sort of governmental decision, big or small. Athens is very well known for its love of education, art, and thought. Some of the most famous philosophers ever hail from Athens, including Socrates. Sparta had a very different government from Athens because it was an oligarchy. An oligarchy was a rule of a few elite people. Sparta was not focused on the arts as we know it. However, they viewed war as their art. Boys from the time they were 7 or 8 were trained in the military arts, and they served until they were about 40 years of age.
There are several factors that connect to create the Peloponnesian War, and we must take into account the Battle of Amphipolis and the invasion of Attica.
Yes. How did the Great Peloponnesian War start?
Well, the Battle of Amphipolis started in 422. Cleon, the Spartan, arrived in Thrace with a force of 30 ships, 1,200 hoplites, and 300 cavalry, along with troops from Athens' allies. He recaptured Torone and Scion. At Scion, the Spartan commander Pastylides was killed. He then took up position at Eion, while Brasidas took his position at Cerdylium, also Latinized as Cerdylium. Brasidas had about 2,000 hoplites and 300 cavalry, plus some other troops in Amphipolis, but he did not feel that he could defeat Cleon in a pitched battle. Brasidas moved his forces back into Amphipolis and prepared to attack. When Cleon realized an attack was coming, he began to retreat. The retreat was badly arranged, and Brasidas attacked boldly against a disorganized enemy, achieving victory.
Cleon was also killed, and when he was attacked by the troops under the Spartan commander Clearidas. Now back to the Peace of Nicias, named after the Athenian general Nicias.
Nicias was the head of the conservative faction in Athens. After Pericles and Cleon died, he was the leader of Athens.
The peace was signed in the year 421 BC.
Peace was between Athens and Sparta. The two sides would keep what they had already, except for Sparta and Athens would each give back a city.
It was signed only 10 years after the war had begun.
The treaty did not fix the problems that started the war.
War broke out only 6 years after the treaty was signed. Lastly, the Battle of Agaspotami was the naval battle that would end the Peloponnesian War. It was fought in 405 BC in the Hellespont, with a combined Corinthian and Spartan navy, which was now financed by Persian gold in pursuit. The Athenians put in at the Agaspotami River to gather fresh water and supplies.
Such an expedition is always tricky, because
Have to be put in the shore, leaving the fleet unmanned.
and it is imperative at such times to know the location of the enemy fleet and keep an eye out for ships. This was not done. The Athenians were surprised by the Corinthians and Spartans, and the fleet was almost completely destroyed. Athens lost the better part of her 180 ships, while 200 Spartan ships survived the battle.
The straw for Athens was the Spartan army invaded Attica in 404 BC. After a short resistance, Athens was forced to surrender.
Sparta was not kind to Athens after their surrender. The terms of the peace were harsh. Sparta demanded Athens was also forced to become a junior ally of Sparta, and so lost the right to form her own foreign policy. Sparta demanded the destruction of the walls around the Pyrrhus, as well as the long walls running from Athens to the port. The citizens of Athens themselves were forced to pull down their own hand. The Athenian war fleet was reduced to 12 ships, barely enough to protect their shipping. Athens was also forced to become a junior ally of Sparta, and so lost the right to form her own foreign policy.